Inspired by sound.
Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Back for another Inspired by Sound video here. This time a track called Delayed Reaction, published on my channel a few days ago. And showing in the cards, probably now showing. So this is another of my epic attempts, like Time to Run, to show something with gravitas that goes places and takes you on a journey into sound. And I'm going to break that track down for you today. It's only 8 tracks. Sounds kind of big, but it's only 8 tracks. So, I will show you this. I'm quite proud of this one, actually, I must say. Sat down on Sunday afternoon for about 3 hours and I just plowed through. No interruptions, no disturbances from the kids, from the wife, none of it. Just sat down, made the track, called it a day, felt very pleased, published it online, got some good feedback, and, well, I thought since it was one of those big things, I would talk about it and what I used and how I used it. So let's get started. The track is in Logic right now, and I've got it here. And if I play you the track from the beginning, with a metronome on, you're going to hear the piano come in at bar 4. And the first track showing is piano, and I'll talk about that. Sounds kind of big. Turn the metronome off. Okay, so let's discuss this piano. I've unsoloed it now, it was soloed. The thing about this piano is that you've heard it before. It is the Koei X Pro from Acoustic Samples, linked in the description, like everything else. But this is with the difference. As you've maybe seen a couple of my other videos recently, I've been talking about Complete and effects and putting effects inside of the Complete control plugin itself, which is a new feature they introduced a couple of weeks ago. And I've done that in this case as well. So in slot 2, I have Black Hole Reverb from Eventide, again linked in the description, and it's called Biggest Reverb Ever. I mentioned this in a prior video. This seems to be an ongoing theme when I was discussing the Allura plugin from Impact Soundworks. It's huge. But also on top of that reverb, in slot number 3 is Replica XT. And the preset is called Padland. And together they make this great big sound. So I can play, let's play like if I go down 1 octave and play 2 low Ds, which is how this piece starts in the first place. So you can see that with not too much effort, I've made a sort of huge pad sound out of the piano, which I think is rather cool, if I say so. Just by the effects doing all the work. It's a bit like a Korg product in that way, because lots of Korg, if you take away a lot of the effects off of a Korg product, it becomes quite dry. And that's not a bad thing, by the way, because it's nice that it's not doctored. Because it means that when you do add your own effects, you get very different sounds than the manufacturer would have thought or intended. So that's cool. In a way, although people complain about it, it's actually a good thing. So that's sound number 1, Koei X Pro, Black Hole, and Replica XT. So we move down to what I called Ambient 1. The first track is originally called Piano. I know, it's thoroughly exciting. So Haunted Spaces from Sonic Couture is the next patch, and I'm using a patch called Bottled Cellos, which I will show you what that sounds like and put the metronome back on. It comes in right in the beginning. Haunted Space has become a very cool plugin for this kind of work for me. It's big, it's got all kinds of noises in it, it's full of just strange and unusual textures that I've never found in any other plugin like it before, and I quite enjoy messing with it. So it's playing under the piano, chords and motifs and stabs, well, not really stabs so much as long blocks. And that is running through, in slot 2, Guitar Rig 5 from Native Instruments. And the patch that it's running through is called Elastic. So I can play like a D minor chord. And that's the sort of thing that happens on that track. And lots of these, as you notice, just go on for ages, which is kind of why I did this, which is why I like it. If I go back to the piano track and play a very sharp chord, you'll notice that the effects just carry it going and going and going. And that gives it kind of its big, gravitas-laden feel, I think, which is quite enjoyable. Ambient 2, because I'm so original with my naming, is from Geosonics, again another Sonicature product, and something that I've been wanting to get into a piece for a long time and haven't succeeded until now. Actually, I might have done once, possibly, in something, but I can't remember, to be honest. And the preset I used is called Halls of Ice. I think I modified it by turning down some of the synth sounds in it, so the natural recording, I'm not sure what key it was supposed to be in, but without the clicking, that's what I've made it do. My Mac found this track very difficult to write, by the way. It complained at me several times, my poor little MacBook Air. It said, "You're running too much through me and you're going to cause me heart attacks, so stop it." But I didn't stop it. I persisted and I finished the piece. Thank you very much. In this case, I'm running this through the Waves H-Delay Stereo from the Hybrid collection from waves.com. In that way you can hear the delay. If I play like a long note, you won't hear it because it feeds into it, so you can only sort of tell it's there, but if you play something quick, you know, you can tell it's bouncing. And the preset I'm using on the delay, if it will tell me, is quarter ping pong, yes. And by the way, this piece is at 120 beats a minute, so kind of a standard really. So that's that one. Track 4, Woodwinds. This is Sonivox Orchestral Companion Woodwinds. And this is the only preset that is not running inside of Complete Control. And I now need to go into the mixer and to tell you what reverb I'm using on this, because I actually can't remember. Oh, I'm using Replica XT again. I wonder if I can actually see the name of the preset, because... well, let's find out. I'm using Wormhole, apparently. Okay. So the idea with this track is... let me go from the beginning and show you and solo this track again. If it will let me. Okay, thank you. Having a bit of a silly moment there. This track does things like this. Things like that. So it's kind of hidden in the background. You don't really hear it unless you listen carefully. That's how a lot of these big tracks go, though. There's a lot of elements in them, although, as I say, there's only 8 in this one. So it seems like not much. But it's a good sound. But when you think... and how I got the crescendo there is actually by using my expression pedal. So I've got the track turned down, well, with my foot, the patch turned down. And then I'm using pitch bend and things like that to achieve all those ghostly textures and things like that, which is quite fun. So let me stop that and unsolo it, and you're going to get a blast of noise from all the other tracks playing in the background. Oh yes. I also didn't show you, by the way, what track 3 does. I should. It starts at bar 1, solo it with the metronome 1. It starts off at bar 1 with this greatly low note. Because what Sonicature did, which is very cool with this patch, is that the animal sound, whatever that may be, Halls of Ice, is actually in the correct key. So I'm playing this piece is kind of D minor, B flat major, F major sometimes, and each key is in its right key. A lot of times when you get patches and libraries like this, you find that each sound is not in its respective key, so you have to play either out of key or find a way to transpose it so that it doesn't completely mess up your brain. And that can be awkward at times. Okay, vocals. Let's talk about vocals. This is fun. And this is a track that I did not use any external effects on because the effects from the vocal track, in this case, work fine as they are. I'm using Heaviosity Vocalize 2, which we've talked about before a little bit. And I'm using the D hash minor phrases with Scapes patch, and D hash minor being E flat, by the way. But I have tuned it down to D. So it's only one semitone down, so it's not too bad. and this plays just every now and then. Let's see. The first time it plays, I think, is, well, I'll have to go through it, because when I go to the beginning of the piece, there is a blank key, which actually is to set the tuning of the patch. And the reason I did that is because if I didn't, it would be an E flat when I'd be playing all these keys, by the way. That you can see my hands running over at the moment. And for those of you who cannot, they're all different phrases and keys. But they're tuned to a set key set by heavy velocity to begin with. So I have to go below the octave twice, I think, and then set where this thing kicks in what key it's going to function in. So I had to do that. And so the first note, there we go. That's the first sound that I used from it. And that's its built-in reverb. I didn't have to add any effects to that, and I didn't want to overload it, so I didn't need to do that. So I think that's bar 19. 18? Yeah, bar 18. But there are so many keys in here, I don't remember which key it actually is on the keyboard. But there's lots of phrases that didn't get used in here because I didn't want to make this all about vocals. I wanted to make it all about gravitas and bigness. It wasn't meant to be a sort of, heaviosity demo. It was meant to be an everything demo or track. Okay, the next one is Rise and Hit, Native Instruments Rise and Hit, which we know of quite well, I should think, by now. And this, I used an early patch in the preset list, is Anvil to Burst. That's the burst. And I'm running this through a reactor reverb called Space Master Stereo, and the preset, which is Church Back. So that's the hit. Let's hit the Rise and Hit. And I have altered this patch in some way. I can't remember exactly what I did. I think I turned up something and turned down something else. But I wanted a very definite roll, and there was a roll in one of the layers. And without going plus minus and hearing what the default sound is and losing that, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But suffice to say, I did modify the preset a little. Can't talk about that patch for long, because all it does is that, which you've heard of before. Okay, the next track is a drum track, and this is from Damage, again a Heaviosity product, which we like a lot, and again using Black Hole Reverb. Can you tell I recently bought this? So there's a lot of Black Hole in here. Default Black Hole is the name of the preset I'm using in this instance. And if I solo this... Oh, it's good enough, we don't need the metronome in the beginning. All sorts of fun things going on there. What I'm actually going to do, though, is quickly talk about the second drum track and then solo the two together, so you can hear how I made them work in harmony. The second drum track, by the way, is Action Strikes, Native Instruments Action Strikes, and it's called Hits Orchestral Percussion, this one, and is running through Effect-Wise Guitar Rig 5 again. This time the preset is called something I can't pronounce because the speech doesn't allow me to actually spell it out. So I can't tell you the name of it. It begins with an H. If I was to say it the way the speech says it, it says Highchave Helody, which doesn't sound at all like a real word. So if you know what that preset actually is called, do let me know in the comments. So this starts at bar 19 according to the beginning of track project key. And if I solo this and put the metronome on, maybe we won't need it. Let's find out. Oh. So I'm using Guitar Rig for a delay in this instance. So let me now solo the first and second drum tracks. And I'll go back 2 bars, so to bar 17, and play, and then you'll hear the build up and lead up to these 2 drum tracks working together. 2. So that's what that does. And well, that's the whole piece, you know, everybody, because literally, as I say, that's the 8 tracks. So I would say it's relatively simple, but there's a lot going on in just 8 tracks, and I am, if I may say so, quite proud of this one. As a composer, you know, you don't always feel anything like proud of your work. Most of it you just think is utter crap. But then occasionally you make a gem and you feel quite happy with it, and I am happy with this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as I always say, please like, subscribe and share, and tell your friends about these videos. I do them for you, and because I enjoy doing them, they're fun, but ultimately for you guys, to get something out of it. If it's a library that you want to buy, or a plugin that you've heard and enjoyed, then I'm all for that. So, take care, and I'll see you again soon. By the way, the next video, if I'm not mistaken, will be about improvisation, with a very odd track. So, if that's your thing, great. Alright, I'll let this play out, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you as always for watching.